All right, welcome. Today we are going to dig deep into the long-term case for Ethereum. We're talking the tech, the numbers, and the one big question that's on everybody's mind. So let's just jump right in. Is Ethereum really the future of crypto? And is it possible that it could actually flip Bitcoin to become the #1 crypto asset? That's the huge question we're going to tackle. But before we can even begin to answer that, you have to understand one crucial thing. Bitcoin and Ethereum are not the same. They're fundamentally different. And that single difference, well, it's the key to this whole story. Yeah, a lot of people try to compare Bitcoin and Ethereum like they're apples and apples, but they're just not. The best way to think about it is this. Bitcoin is digital gold. Its one main job is to sit there and be a super secure store of value. Ethereum, on the other hand, it's a bustling digital economy. Its job isn't just to be something, its job is to run things, to run the entire crypto ecosystem. So when I say it runs the ecosystem, what does that actually look like? Well, it means pretty much all the innovation is happening there. We're talking the smart contracts that power decentralized finance, or DeFi, the NFTs that are totally changing how we think about ownership, the entire crypto gaming world, and now even the next generation of AI apps. Almost the whole shebang is being built right on top of Ethereum. Okay, so if its main purpose is to be this massive, functional digital economy, let's look at the actual case for why it could become the top dog, the #1 blockchain. It really all boils down to three main arguments. And here they are, the three pillars that all the experts keep pointing to. Number one, it has real, actual utility. Think of it like digital fuel. Number two, the insane wave of adoption from huge institutions. And number three, this kind of perfect storm in its economics, driven by a shrinking supply and a huge amount of ETH being locked up. Let's really break down that first point on utility. See, the ETH token isn't just something you speculate on. It's absolutely essential. It's the gas, the fuel that makes the world's largest decentralized computer actually work. Every single time someone makes a transaction or uses an app, all of it requires ETH. So it has this real built-in demand. Now for pillar number two, institutional adoption. And listen, we're not talking about some small tech startups here. We're talking about the absolute titans of finance. BlackRock, JP Morgan, Visa, Fidelity. These guys aren't just buying ETH on the side. They are actively building on the Ethereum network. They see it as the base layer for a whole new financial world. And this brings us to that third pillar, its powerful economic engine. This whole thing really kicked off with one critical network upgrade that totally flipped Ethereum's economic model on its head. This one change paved the way for ETH to become a deflationary asset. That means its total supply can actually go down over time. So how in the world does that work? It's a pretty simple but brilliant three-step process. Every time a transaction happens on the network, a little piece of the fee, which is paid in ETH, is just destroyed. It's burned forever. So as more people use the network, more ETH gets removed from circulation, the total supply shrinks, and naturally, scarcity goes up. It's just simple economics. And believe it or not, that's only half the story. On top of that burning mechanism, you have something called staking, where people lock up their ETH to help keep the network secure. Right now, there's over 27 million ETH locked up in staking. We're talking tens of billions of dollars worth of this asset just taken off the market. So you've got ETH being burned and ETH being locked away. That creates some serious pressure on the price. Okay, so that's the foundation we're working with. But what about the future? Well, looking ahead, experts are watching four major catalysts that could seriously ramp up demand for Ethereum. So, what's on the radar? First up, the potential approval of spot ETH ETFs, which would just open the floodgates for mainstream capital. Second, you have this explosion of layer 2s. These are blockchains built on top of Ethereum that make it way faster and cheaper. Third is the massive trend of tokenizing real-world assets. And finally, Ethereum is really carving out a niche as the go-to infrastructure for Web3 and even AI. Let's just pause on that tokenization point for a second, because the scale here is it's mind-boggling. You've got giants like BlackRock and HSBC saying this is going to be a $10 trillion market, and the #1 platform that they're all using to build this future, it's Ethereum. I mean, that is a colossal driver of future demand for the network. Which, of course, brings us all the way back to our big question. With all this real-world use, this massive adoption, and this incredible growth potential, what are the experts actually saying about its chances to outperform Bitcoin? And honestly, the consensus among analysts is getting more and more bullish. Huge financial firms and some of the most respected voices in crypto, from Van Eck to Standard Chartered, are going on the record saying that, yeah, ETH has a very real shot at outperforming Bitcoin over the next cycle, maybe even over the next decade. And look, these aren't just vague statements, they're actually putting hard numbers on it. We're seeing price targets that range from $10,000 in ETH all the way up to $20,000 in some of the more bullish forecasts. And the important thing to remember is these numbers aren't just pulled out of thin air. They're not based on hype, they're based on that core idea that Ethereum is becoming the backbone of this new digital world. So let's tie this all together. After looking at all the data and the analysis, what's the ultimate takeaway here? Does all of this mean that Ethereum is just destined to steamroll Bitcoin and make it totally obsolete?
Well, the smart, nuanced answer is probably not, because they do different things. Bitcoin has the brand. It's a household name. It has fortress-like security and that pure, simple scarcity. It is digital gold. But Ethereum, it has what Bitcoin doesn't. Thousands of real-world uses, a massive community of developers building on it every day, and those powerful network effects that you only get when you're the platform everyone wants to be on.
And I think that really brings us to the perfect way to wrap this up. If Bitcoin has cemented its place as digital gold, a safe, passive place to store your wealth, then Ethereum is playing a much bigger game. It might just become digital everything, the base layer powering the future of finance, of art, of gaming, of the entire next version of the internet.